the one and only, the fabulous Drake Travis, Dr. Drake.
You know, people tell me, you seem pretty happy. You seem pretty, you seem younger than you really are. I turn 60 next summer, and I don't feel it. I feel like 20-something. I feel 30. Well, it's my wife that keeps me perky and such. So, yep. Just train your wife to talk to you and about you that way, like she's introducing pro wrestler.
Yes, please introduce your husband every morning to the children.
It's my husband. It's time for the thunder.
And good morning to Eric and Angela Dean.
Oh my goodness!
Look at this fabulous cup of coffee. Guess where I got this from?
Locals, Eric and Angela. Yeah, great folks. We pulled in here. We are in the shadow of, well, I guess in the afternoon you'd call it, in the shadow of Tahoe. We're right below Lake Tahoe on the Nevada line right now, and just excited to share with you.
Good morning, Elisa Hendricks and Jimmy.
Yeah, this is a message that I have been speaking in churches since the 70s. And this is a message I have chatted about in settings.
What are we chatting about today, Drake?
About reaching cultures. Jesus said, when all the ethne, when Christ is preached in all ethne, alla ethne, that's all the nations. So an ethnic person or people are from a nation. And these are all the cultures that have devised themselves since Babylon, when the world fanned out. Well, the world is pulling together, and it fascinates me how a message can be preached, and it can be live like this, and it can be zinged into most of the countries of the world right now. 96% of the world's people have the gospel in their language, and Jesus said, when all the people do, then I can return. Wycliffe Bible said they need about $1 billion more, and they'll have the resources to reach all the last groups. There's one language group, South Pacific New Guinea area. There's about 900 of them. So is the Bible in Cantonese so that those 1,200,000,000? Yes, it's been in English for 800 and something years. It's been in Spanish a little less than that. It's been in Hebrew for anyhow. I don't mean to go off on that.
But one thing I want to add before you start, Drake, is as far as the translations of the Bible are concerned, we were at the Museum of the Bible in D.C., Washington, D.C., which is really awesome. And we saw there's a rotunda where they have a representation of all the languages in the world. There are books on like a circular library, and they're color coded according to which languages have a translation, which ones are in the process, and which ones haven't been started yet. And so you can see what's left to be done. It's just a graphical, huge representation. Yeah. So there's still work to do.
Yeah. Good-hearted people want Jesus to return, and I remember I was at Dill Pickle Brain in grammar school. I wanted to go for recess, but our teacher said, "Well, Drake, finish your homework, then you can go out and play." But I want to go out and play now. Well, we want Jesus to come back now. Well, we got to finish some homework first, and that's it. So, give you a few vignettes of how to reach someone. And put it in their terms. If you want to bless a Chinese person,
do you have that Bible verse that you're kind of basing this from?
Become all things to all men, so that I might, by all means, save some. You're not going to save everybody. And that's why we have the Judas issue in our gospel story. Just say, hey, Jesus had 8.33% of his staff bail on him. It happens. Don't go crazy about it.
Or 0.125.
What is 12?
1/12.
1/12 is 8.5%. So it's gonna happen. You're not gonna save everybody. There are countries in this world where, and I said this about Africa on Friday, there are countries in Africa that they register as 100% Christian, which, great.
So you're kind of talking about being winsome.
Being winsome in a way so that you walk in and people go, well, hey, you're explaining the gospel in a dialect that I understand.
That's cool.
You're going to use a different tactic, sharing Christ with a welder as you are with a surfer, as you are with a person who's so into adrenaline sports, they're probably not going to live past 30 because they just can't get enough, cliff jumping, skiing off of, and then, flying with the wingsuits and stuff. Those people, they lose friends every year. But the thrill of the gospel, they're like, oh, you can't talk to a person who loves to wingsuit and, fly off a Half Dome and or these cliffs in Norway, and, they land 7 miles away. They're just at 120. I'm terminal velocity.
Are you planning on getting one of those things, Drake?
I think I should tomorrow.
I had a feeling.
You don't reach a person like that by talking them about the comfort of Jesus. And Jesus is so nice and cozy. They go, cool, I'm out of here. Saying things on their terms. And, you find out how to reach people by analyzing...
Grace Blondfield, like me, I love adrenaline. Do you drink it for breakfast?
One way to understand how to reach people is understand what is deviance to them. Just hang with me here for a second.
That's a good point.
If you're going to correct somebody, they use different complete concepts all over the world. If you're going to correct an English person, you're saying, hey, you're being bad. Don't be bad. Be good. You're being bad. I don't understand the punk rock thing from 40 years ago. English culture is, it's in flux like a lot of them are as we are late in history here. But,
until bad became good.
Yeah, so it's...
Words get flipped. Yeah. It's kind of unfair.
But if you're going to correct a French person, they say, hey, you're not being wise.
That's interesting.
Your behavior is unwise. In Germany, they say, hey, you're out of line. Get back in line. They like straight things. The Autobahn is like a checkerboard pattern, and there's straight lines throughout Germany, this way and this way. The concept was dreamt up by Adolf Schicklgruben. You might know his other name.
Well.
So get back in line. In the South Pacific, to correct a child that's made things, hey, your behavior isn't healthy. You need to be healthy. In England, be good. In French, hey, you need to be wise. In German, you need to get back in line. South Pacific, hey, you need to be healthy. You know what they say in America?
What?
Hey, your plans aren't working. If you've got a 27-year-old that's still living in the basement, he finished his junior college sociology degree 7 years ago, and he's still playing video games, and you leave on a vacation, you guys, listen, by the time we get back, I want this straightened up, and I want you at least working a burger job. Come back, and oh man, he's logged another, 90 hours a week playing video games. The house is a mess, cat everywhere, it's spilled over. Hey, this isn't working. In America, if it's good, it works. If it's not good, it doesn't work. We go crazy when stuff doesn't work.
I go crazy when stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, that's our grid. That's our grid. How does Dr. Phil cross-examine someone who's really got dumb ideas? How's that working for you?
That's true. He does say that. Not that I watch Dr. Phil all the time.
Yeah, we've been on Dr. Phil, but we've...
not in the audience.
Yes, but audience. And when they do the opening dance, they ask Serena and I to come up and, we did a cutting routine.
Let me tell you.
Screaming. Anyhow, South America.
Let's not do that today, though.
In South America, I'm kind of morphing here a little bit. If you want to reach someone in South America, with Jesus, the whole thing, come to Jesus... They say, talk about Jesus' family, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Don't start with that verse. he who follows me must abandon his family, his this and that. He must hate his own father and mother. That's a tough.
That's like level 4.
Extreme. Level 7.
Oh, even higher. Okay.
Not that you despise your parents, but you are so into what you're doing that when your parents go, hey, buddy, you know, you haven't, you didn't send me a Valentine. Mom, this, you know, it's okay. It's an over extreme there. But if you want to reach a Chinese person with the gospel, you don't go on about how Jesus is comforting. They love the concept of clever. The verses in John, you analyze what Jesus is saying in the book of John, and you think, this guy is so, wow. Especially the 7 times when Jesus gets questioned, these asinine questions. He's going to be killed that month. And who do we pay taxes to? Well, give me a coin. Okay. Give what to Caesar is Caesar's, and give what to God is God's. They didn't want answers, by the way. They wanted to trip him. They weren't on a quest for anything. They weren't questions. Their quest was to kill him. Well, if a woman marries, if your brother's wife dies, you need to take her in. Don't let her be a troll in society, just looking, somebody take care of me. You take her in. Give her a place at your place. Well, what if he dies? Well, then she takes the other brother. Well, what if all 7 brothers die? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. The scenario. I remember asking my dad the most idiotic little questions when I was 4. But Dad, he says, well, Drake, that never happens. But what if it did? He says, but it doesn't ever happen. I don't remember what the question was. I just remember my dad was going, Drakey boy, can I give you a lollipop that's about this big and I can just shove it in your mouth and you can stop this stupid question? Well, when grown adults ask these dumb questions, anyhow, Jesus answered these. Chinese people look at that cleverness and go, oh my God. This guy is so clever. They teach those questions in law school that Jesus answered so cleverly. Secular law school, they teach the cleverness of Jesus. It also gives away his intelligence. If you're going to witness to a Japanese person, you talk about the intelligence of Jesus. The joke is, how do you tell that? And an Asian told me this, so don't call the ACLU. Shut up. An Asian told me this question. A great friend of mine. He says, yeah, people ask me, how do you tell us apart? And he says, well, if he's got a lot of money, he's Chinese. If he's really intelligent, he's Japanese. If he's good looking, he's Korean. a Korean told me that.
Of course.
But go on about the intelligence of Jesus.
That's really funny. Of course, we know there's beautiful, intelligent, and clever people.
Yes,
from all places. If you've got a blue collar guy that's just got all kinds of things going on, he's got an orchard in his backyard, he's got a welding business in his shop. Work. I know people that work 16 hours a day and they can't get enough. And on Sunday, like, oh, I want to keep working. Stop. You got to stop. You got to rest today. That's Americans are like that. Don't talk to them about Jesus loves you even when you fail, even when you do it wrong, even when you don't feel like getting up. He still accepts you. You're saved by grace. That's not a good way to get started in their world and have them go, yeah, you got my attention. What's cool? Tell me more about Jesus. Russians are tough, and Russians love being real. My wife is Finnish. That's right.
And if you want to, to get into
Finnish
the
by heritage,
I'm still trying to get into the Finnish mindset, and I'm quite different than that. But love kind of soft spoken. Don't really nail the issue nose to nose, head to head. They don't like that. Just kind of just catch the hints.
Not liking confrontation. We liked being very abrupt.
Yeah, but confrontation ain't the thing.
No.
Russians, tough and real. The Poles can be this way too. I laughed my head off about this girl who, this guy who dated a Russian girl who she was in America studying, and she, I can't fathom it behaving this way on a date. I've got a son that does stuff like this, but he takes this Russian girl on a date. So how's this? How's that? How you doing? And he's kind of like, oh, I don't want to just warm up slowly. I don't want to just like, okay, tell me your life dream. What are your goals? What are your plans? Give me the 7 points you want to send in. How to, you know, what's your blood type? When's your birthday?
Let's get the preliminaries over with.
Yeah, he kind of went at the whole thing kind of gentle, and they come to a stop sign, and she grabs